What's up, guys? Welcome back. So I saw one of the comments from my video the other day was asking, how do I learn to drive manual if I don't have access to a car? And so I think I can answer that question because this is kind of what I did. The only things that you need is you have to have a license and probably a friend, maybe a relative, somebody who's like a little bit older, kind of help sell this thing a little bit. So it's really cold out here, so I'm going to get inside the car and I'm going to explain to you exactly what I did. So I'm assuming that you understand the fundamentals of how a manual transmission works. You know what the clutch does, you know what the shifter does, you know how you have to stop and go and whatnot. You've probably watched videos on YouTube of how to operate it with the pedal camera. You've probably played a video game, something like Forza Test Drive Unlimited, and even without using a racing wheel and pedals, maybe you used a controller with one of the buttons mapped to the clutch. So I'm assuming that you know generally how a manual transmission works, but you just want to get seat time in a car and you don't have money and none of your friends have a manual transmission car. So this is what I did. I went to a car dealership and I just looked online for the cheapest cars in my area with a manual transmission. I looked at Ford Fiestas, I looked at PT Cruisers, I looked at base Corollas, any of that stuff, because all you need is seat time. The hardest thing to learn is all of the low speed maneuverability stuff that you can do even in a parking lot. So if you go there with a friend or a relative that's like a little bit older, it makes it a lot easier for that salesman to say yes, because you're going to go in there telling them, I'm here to have my first manual car. I've driven a little bit, but I just want to get a feel for it, and I think that this is the car that I'm going to buy. You have to go in there and tell that salesman, I'm looking to buy something, whether or not you actually are, because otherwise they're not just going to hand you the keys to the car. Once you get the car, what you're going to do is you're probably going to be in a little lot, or if you're in somewhere that's like more of an urban area, tell the salesman, hey, I'm a little bit rusty. Would you mind if we just went to like a parking lot or something so I can get a feel for the car? Chances are the guy just wants to make a sale, right? He'd be happy to let you do that. And in fact, a lot of the times, even now, if I'm test driving a car and I get it back to the parking lot, I'll give them the keys so they can park it, because I don't want to deal with their parking situation anyway. It's totally normal to ask, hey, let's go a little bit off site. Let's find a parking lot or something. I can get a feel for the controls. All you're going to do is focus on the fundamentals, because that's what you're missing. That's the next step from playing a video game or watching TV, is to actually interact with the controls. So you're in a little parking lot and you're just going to be stopped, hopefully on level ground, and all you're going to do is put the clutch into first gear, let the clutch out slowly, and get the car moving slowly, slowly, slowly. Any modern car is going to try to keep the revs up to keep you from stalling. You're going to approach a stop sign, clutch into neutral, no risk of stalling. When you're in neutral, hit the brakes. The important thing is, even though these controls are all new to you, never look down, because if you look down, your car might start moving in a way that you're not intending, and then you can lose sight of where you are. Back in the first gear, let the clutch out until it starts to move, and then keep going. Now you're fully out, driving around. You know the controls, you've seen all the videos. Second gear, clutch out. You don't need to put the clutch in all the time if you're just cruising around, so you can just keep it in second gear, drive slowly. Practice coming to a stop. It's braking, clutch in, neutral, full stop, into first gear. Now I'm giving it a little bit of gas. You've seen the videos, you generally know how this is going. If you stall the car, remember, keep looking up. You don't want to crash a dealer's car, because then they'll never let you come back. So this method of learning, of just going to car dealerships, I did this all throughout high school and college. I would have my dad take me, I would go out with my friends, and all I was looking to do was just get that little bit more seat time, because that's what I was missing. Eventually, I ended up buying my Focus ST, and from there I just had a lot more seat time, so I had already known how to maneuver slowly around, so I was okay with then getting onto the main roads. And then when you get into the highways and stuff, that's when it gets a lot easier, because you're always got the momentum of the drivetrain, so you don't have to worry about stalling the car at speed. and you could play around with it a little bit more, the shifting gears, flipping the throttle, but all you want is that initial seat time. And a lot of people aren't going to be willing to hand over the keys to you if you've lacked that first step of, oh, I can at least maneuver around a parking lot. So now there are sometimes like difficult things like getting up the hill and whatnot. So if you have to stop on a hill, which hopefully you're not in a circumstance where you have to do this on the first time you're driving, but you're going to want to keep your foot on the brake, let the clutch out until like the revs start to die a little bit, and then you're going to just do the same thing you did before, but you're going to have to be a little bit faster, and it's a feel thing. And it's okay if you stall it. That's totally normal. Even when I drove this car, I stalled this car on the first day I bought it, and I've been driving manual for 10 years just because all the controls are slightly different. The mass of the flywheel or clutch might be a little bit different, and that's fine. But I thought this would just be a fun little story, just of how I learned how to drive manual, and it cost me nothing but my time. And I was able to, just a few weeks ago, go out and test drive a manual car, and it's not really that big of a deal. Just get out of your comfort zone, find that car, make sure it's at a dealer. Don't bother just a private seller, because you're gonna have a lot more trouble there. But that's all I got. Maybe I'll do a quick little driving video. See ya.